You know how they say, knowledge is power? Well, what happens when the knowledge we all think we have is just wrong? Today, we're going to peel back the curtain on some common assumptions and find the surprising reality that's been hiding in plain sight all along. Let's dive right in.
Okay, I want to kick things off with a question I'm pretty sure you've heard 1,000 times. It's one of those creepy little facts that just kind of gets stuck in your brain and never leaves. So, what's the number? What have you always been told? 8. Yep, that's the one. It's the number that floats around everywhere. It's so specific, so memorable, and, let's be honest, absolutely terrifying. For years, most of us have just accepted it as one of those weird, gross truths about being alive.
But what if I told you that number is a complete and total fabrication? I don't mean it's an exaggeration or a slight miscalculation. I mean it's a myth. It was literally designed to be believed.
The reality, it's 0. I mean, think about it from a spider's point of view. Your sleeping mouth is a horrible place to be. It's warm, it's wet, and there are these giant vibrations from your breathing and your heartbeat. They want absolutely nothing to do with it. This little myth is the perfect starting point for our theme today, that massive gap between what we think is true and what actually is. So, let's move from a pretty simple myth to an area that's way more complex, where perception and reality really collide, inside our own minds. The way we talk about mental health is often just a huge oversimplification of a much deeper, hidden internal experience. Let's take depression, for example. On the left, you've got the common perception. Someone's just in a bad mood, right? Snap out of it. But the reality, on the right, is chemical. It's a brain that is physically struggling to produce and regulate the very chemicals, like serotonin and dopamine, that control feelings of pleasure and motivation. It's not a choice, it's a biological reality. And what about ADHD? The popular idea is just a simple inability to focus on anything. But this slide shows a really critical difference. The lived reality isn't a lack of focus, it's an inability to regulate it. Someone with ADHD can absolutely hyper-focus for hours on something that grabs their interest. The struggle is with tasks their brain doesn't find rewarding, because it's not producing enough dopamine to make it feel worthwhile.
And this is so crucial. We've all heard someone say, "Oh, I'm so OCD," because they like their desk to be neat. But this quote right here, it gets to the heart of the hidden reality. Real OCD is not a personality quirk. It is a terrifying loop of intrusive, unwanted thoughts. Those are the obsessions, and the desperate rituals, the compulsions, that the brain demands to try and silence them, even for just a second. It's a prison, not a preference.
Okay, let's shift gears. We've been looking at our internal worlds, but now let's look at an external system that affects every single one of us, money. And you know, a lot like our minds, the financial systems we use every day work very differently than how we assume they do.
When you put your money in a bank, what's the image that comes to mind? For most of us, it's a vault, right? A big, secure safe that's guarding your cash. It feels like storage. But that image, it could not be further from the truth. The moment you walk out that door, your money is basically already gone.
And here's why. This slide reveals the real system at play, fractional reserve banking. See, banks aren't really safes. They're more like financial matchmakers. By law, they only have to keep a small fraction, a reserve, of your deposit. All the rest? It gets immediately loaned out to someone else.
Let's break it down real simple. You deposit $1,000. The bank holds onto a small piece of that, say $100. The other $900, it's immediately loaned to someone else who's buying a car or starting a business. Your deposit isn't just sitting there, it's out there powering the economy. The whole system works on the trust that we won't all ask for our money back at the exact same time.
And here's another hidden reality in finance. We hear about interest all the time, but we often don't truly grasp the gigantic difference between simple and compound interest. I mean, just look at this chart. Over 30 years, it's not even a contest. Simple interest is like getting paid a flat fee. But compound interest, that's when your interest starts earning its own interest. It's not just an employee working for you, it's a financial force that can turn small, consistent savings into incredible wealth over time. All right, you ready for a lightning round? Let's tear through a few more pieces of so-called common knowledge that are really just common misconceptions. We have all heard this one from our parents. Eat your carrots, they give you night vision. Like it's a superpower on your dinner plate. But is there any truth to it? Not even a little bit. The whole myth was actually propaganda from World War II. The British Royal Air Force had just developed amazing new radar technology that let them spot enemy planes at night. So, to keep it a secret, they told the press and the world that their ace pilots just ate a lot of carrots.
a brilliant piece of misdirection that somehow we still believe today.
This next one kind of seems logical. You look down at your wrist, the veins look blue. So the blood inside must be blue, right? And it only turns red when you get a cut and it hits the air. Makes sense.
But nope, it's another myth. Your blood is always red. It's a bright cherry red when it's full of oxygen and a darker, deeper red when it's not, but it's never blue. That bluish appearance is just an optical illusion created by your skin and tissue scattering light.
And the list just goes on and on. Those camel humps, they're full of fat for energy, not water. Losing most of your body heat through your head? Well, yeah, if that's the only part of your body that's uncovered. And pirates making people walk the plank? That was pretty much just a dramatic invention for books and movies. Real pirates were a lot more direct.
So we've covered spiders, our own minds, the way money works, and a whole bunch of random facts. What's the thread that ties all of this together? Why does bothering to uncover these hidden realities actually matter? Because the simple stories we're told are usually just that, stories. The actual reality is almost always more complex, more nuanced, and honestly way more interesting. Understanding the truth about depression can help us find empathy. Understanding how money really works can lead to financial freedom.
So what should you take away from all this? Well, first, our assumptions are often wrong, and that's okay. Second, real empathy comes from looking past the surface to understand someone's hidden reality. Third, even the simplest systems, like a bank, can hide some deep complexity. And maybe most important of all, a curious mind is your single most valuable asset.
And that leaves us with one last thought. We have barely scratched the surface here today. So the real question I want to leave you with is this. What other obvious truths in your own life about your job, your relationships, maybe even yourself